how good you have it. You don't miss something until you don't have access to it, right? It's in your face all day, every day, and sometimes we have to be reminded. And what I mean is, it gives me an opportunity to refresh our memory about the distinguished, dynamic leader that we have at this institution at this time in our history. As noted in the program, Dr. Robinson has many notable achievements. I will not go through them all, but I will take a few moments just to highlight a few. Prior to his appointment as president in November 2017, Dr. Robinson served as interim president on 3 separate occasions, which speaks to his strong commitment and dedication to FAMU. He has always been ready, willing, and able to serve this institution when asked. In addition to his role as president, Dr. Robinson serves as a distinguished professor and researcher in the School of the Environment, where he is the director and principal investigator of a $15 million grant-funded project with the National Oceanic Atmospheric Administration, NOAA. Dr. Robinson's recent honors include an appointment in July 2018 to serve on the National STEM Education Advisory Panel. The U.S. Congress authorized the creation of the panel to encourage U.S. scientific and technological innovations in education. From 27 to 29, Dr. Robinson served as Senior Scientific Advisor at the U.S. Department of Agriculture's Cooperative State Research Education and Extension Service. In May of 2010, he took a leave of absence for FAMU to serve in a U.S. Senate-confirmed position as Assistant Secretary of Commerce for Conservation and Management at NOAA. So far, do you notice a theme? The U.S. President has asked him to serve. Congress has confirmed his appointment multiple times to serve this country. That speaks to who you have as your leader at this institution at this time. Dr. Robinson began his career at FAMU in January of 1995 as a visiting professor in the Environmental Sciences Institute and later became a director in the Institute in January of 1997. Dr. Robinson attended Lemoyne-Owen College. He earned a bachelor's degree in chemistry, summa cum laude, at Memphis State University, and a doctorate in nuclear chemistry from Washington University in St. Louis, Missouri. As you can see, we have a very distinguished and accomplished leader at the helm of this great university. Dr. Robinson is a noted scientist, scholar, administrator, and leader. Time and time again, he has answered calls to serve this institution, state, and the nation. Under Dr. Robinson's outstanding leadership, FAMU continues to rise to new heights and garner national attention for the great work that we do educating the next generation of leaders for this state and nation. And as we celebrate all the fantastic things, Trustee Morissette mentioned the 3 major construction projects. We get national notoriety for our achievements. If you took the time to read that banner up on the wall behind us and think about it, and he's going to talk about it, if you really think about that and reflect, it says that there's a national ranking of all the public universities in this whole country. All the public universities in the whole country are ranked, and we're the highest ranked published HBCU on that list. Those things don't happen without great leadership. So please join me in welcoming our president, Dr. Larry Robinson.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Thank you all for coming out today to just hear a few words that I want to share with you as we start the 2019 academic year. But I want to begin by thanking Dr. Eddington, your Chief Academic Officer, for those very, very kind remarks. Dr. Eddington has been here almost as long as I have, probably just a year short, and his commitment to this institution also stands out for me because I know his journey. I've seen his commitment to you, the students of this institution. So please know that you're in the best of hands at Florida A&M University because you have outstanding leadership at every turn. So thank you, Provost Eddington, for those remarks. To the members of the Florida A&M University Board of Trustees, the outstanding leadership of this university, Student Government Association leaders, the Royal Court, Mr. and Ms. FAMU, faculty, staff, alumni, friends, and most importantly, students. Good morning. Welcome to our 132nd academic year. We will be 132 years old on October the 3rd. Just keep that in mind. There are a lot of people in this audience I just want to recognize because I just wouldn't feel whole if I didn't. First, I want to, because sometimes I forget and I have a tough time afterwards, I want to acknowledge my wife, Sharon, of my wife Sharon of 34, soon to be 35 years on October the 13th. And the person sitting next to her needs to scoot over a little bit. That just happens to be another outstanding leader, the ranks of whom you'll be joining very, very soon, Colonel Greg Clark, the president of the FAMU National Alumni Association. Thank you, sir. I see some other distinguished retirees, but I want to acknowledge all retirees in the room of Florida A&M University. Please stand and be acknowledged for your great service. Some of you have even come back out of retirement to continue to support this institution. I see Colonel Joe standing out prominently among those retirees. Thank you, Colonel Joe, for coming back. I see the chair of the booster, Sevin Cobb, out there this morning, and his lovely wife. Thank you for coming and joining us today. All the way from Oklahoma, he comes here as often as he can get here, former Oklahoma State Representative Kevin Cox. Thank you, sir, for joining us. We have former NAA president and current directors of the Rattler Boosters, Mr. Tommy Mitchell, with us this morning as well. Thank you, Tommy, for coming and joining us. We will have food after this across the street. I do want to also recognize one of our retirees who came back. He felt so bad about leaving, he came crawling back to us. He served as president of that school that's going to have a very, very hard time tomorrow, Fort Valley State. Former president of Fort Valley State, Dr. and Mrs. Larry Rivers. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Whereas Dr. Rivers left us for a while to go to Fort Valley, he was smart enough to send his son here, right? Thank you all for joining us. I also want to welcome all of our former athletes back to campus. This is all sports reunion weekend, as well as the FAMU Sports Hall of Fame weekend. Would you all join me in welcoming all of those Rattlers back to the Hill? And President Clark is one of the honorees this year. But you can move over just a little bit, Greg, just a little bit. It's an interesting, very funny story. Yesterday, I was in Washington, D.C. I'll say a little bit about that, and I had a flight. I had to get back here for a very special program last night. And so to make sure I didn't have any problems getting through the airport, I went there very early to check in, check my baggage, right? So I could just get on the plane and come home. And so I did that. I checked my baggage, and I was leaving the airport. And I saw a very tall gentleman in orange and green encountered me and said, where in the hell are you going? Tallahassee is this way, right? So he was coming back for the reunion weekend. He was so concerned that I was coming to D.C., he thought that I might miss this event. I said, no, sir, I understand that U.S. Congressman Al Lawson is chairing all these activities. I have a special program to get to that night, so there's no way that I'm going to miss all of that. So tell all the rattlers to stand down. Don't start tweeting and Facebooking yet. I am going to be in Tallahassee this weekend. So rest assured, I made it a point of getting back here. There are so many special things and special reasons to do this. In particular, this very, very special day where we welcome our newest students to the Hill, the members of the class of 2023. With all of those new rattlers, please stand and be acknowledged at this time. The class of 2023. I said to many of you, and you heard this long before you came, at our recruitment sessions and orientation sessions here on the Hill and around the nation, in the various places that you've come, and I've had an opportunity to meet and talk with you and your parents. Remember, I told you that you don't have to prove anything to us. We know that you have the innate ability to succeed in any endeavor you choose. The only thing you have to prove to us is that you're willing to work as hard on your own behalf as we are willing to work on your behalf as an institution and as a family. We are confident that you will and can succeed. So look to your left, look to your right, get the autograph of the person sitting next to you. Get them now, because you're going to be able to sell them sometime in the future, because there's some great rattlers sitting next to you, and you're going to go out in your careers, you're going to go off in your lives and say, I remember him. I remember her. They sat next to me in convocation, right? I saw them at the calf, right? I saw them at the day party. Just remember, get to know the person sitting next to you in the classrooms, right? Get to know the persons personally who you encounter as you walk across this campus, because they're the future superstars of this nation and this world. That's what we believe more than anything else. We need you to assume leadership roles everywhere that you go. Get those autographs now. Whoa. So I want to take a few minutes to guarantee you, to assure you that you picked the right place to start and in some cases end your academic careers. According to the 2020 U.S. News and World Reports, as Dr. Eddington just indicated, tweet this out, right? Facebook or FaceTime, whatever you call it, send that out right there. Hashtag that, okay? Send that out. Do that right now. Get on those cell phones. Do that right now. You are going to contribute, and I'll tell you how in a minute, to solidifying FAMU's place in these rankings, and then there's some other things that are important just as well. Student success at FAMU is our #1 priority. Our strategic plan, FAMU Rising, presents a roadmap as to how we're going to continue to get better and excel at all of the things that we do. We have invested in resources, including hiring new and additional academic advisors. We are providing funding for undergraduate research. The provost just rolled out this week a new center for undergraduate research. We're focusing on increasing graduation and retention rates of all of you, and most importantly, we believe, is reducing the out-of-pocket costs that it requires for you to attend this university. Those are some of our key priorities. The latest accolades come as FAMU has recorded the highest GPA for its incoming freshmen. We're attracting more high-achieving students and transfer students who can graduate in 4 years and make significant impacts in their communities and globally. Please join me in recognizing all the FAMU scholars who are in attendance this morning. All of the presidential scholars, all of you, please stand and be recognized. So how can we improve, and why is it imperative that we do? Well, one of the most obvious truths is that everybody else is trying to get better, and if you don't try to get better, you just can't stay where you are because of that. So if you want to continue your ascent or do things better just because there are better ways of doing things, you need to focus your efforts on innovative approaches to improving these outcomes that are so important to us. First, as students, you need to understand that you play a critical role in this university's standings. You need to understand that those metrics around graduation rates, retention rates, et cetera, these are things that you can contribute to the successful outcomes of as well. When we talk to you about finishing in 4 years, it's not just because we don't love you, we do, but we want you out there in the world because they need you terribly to work on the problems that still confront us. We want you to go out into the world, make a difference, earn some money, join the ranks of FAMU's national alumni, and send money back to take care of the next generation of rattlers. We want you to finish strong and go into the workforce and be successful. We love you, right? But as many of you have heard me say, there are, as you can see, as you look around this gymnasium this morning, we have every conceivable type of organization you can imagine, and all of them are extremely important, from the Divine Nine to the Marching 100, right, to the dance troops and academic organizations. All of them are critically important for us. However, the most important organization that you can become a member of is the FAMU National Alumni Association. We need you out of here contributing to changing the world like so many rattlers have done before you. Everyone should realize that FAMU is a leader. Our faculty and staff are gathering around the nation to tell their stories. You know, earlier this summer, we convened for the first time all 4 HBCU presidents in the state of Florida to not only talk about our glorious past, but also talk about the things that we are doing now and the things that we need to continue to improve on to make an impact in this state's and this nation's future. We all agree that there would be no African-American middle class in Florida were it not for these 4 historically black colleges and universities. We've done our job so well that we've opened the doors so that you could have gone any place else in Florida or any place else in this nation. But that's because of the work of these 4 institutions. There was a time where that was the only educational choice that you had. But the mistake people often make about that is that they assume that people come to historically black colleges and universities now in 2019 because that's the only choice that they have. Those students who just stood have been recruited by some of the best institutions, so-called, around this nation, they came to FAMU because they wanted to be here. They knew it was something special about being here at this great institution. So when you think about the fact that we had over 11,700 students to apply to this institution this year, one of the largest application amounts that we have realized, and 8,500 of those were at the undergraduate level, and Dr. Hudson, the right arm, President Morris said, only admitted about 1,500 of those 7,500 students. So when you talk about coming to FAMU, it is a privilege to be here. There are 7,000 other students who were trying to get into the spots that the class of 2023 hold today. It is not by default that these young people come here. They could have gone to any place in America. You are the nation's best and brightest. Be proud of that. Recognize for sure that the person sitting next to you are some of the smartest people on this planet. So yesterday, one of the reasons I was in Washington, D.C., is to speak on a panel entitled, as part of an initiative called the HBCU Brain Trust. What can we do to sustain the great works of our institutions? And I was on a panel with 4 other HBCU presidents and or chancellors. Now there are over 100 HBCUs. They could have picked anybody to be on that panel, but for some reason, they picked FAMU to be on that panel. Now, they didn't pick me, they picked FAMU to be on that panel because they know that FAMU has a great story to be told. They talked about how we needed to sustain and enhance our presence in entrepreneurship and commercialization. What are some of the unique things that are happening in our communities to advance that? I talked about the things that we're doing at FAMU with regard to federal funding, the development of a regional research, entrepreneurship, and commercialization hub, or REACH at FAMU, to expand technology commercialization and community-based entrepreneurship. Championed by the School of Business and Industry, FAMU's relationship with the ACT House is changing lives. The ACT House is an incubator where Raptors live in one house to create one startup in 1 year. It has expanded to include 2 startup teams in the current year. So they wanted FAMU there because, I had some great stories to tell them about the out-of-the-box things that we're doing to engage our students in entrepreneurship. And that extends beyond this program. Many of you are aware that in the School of Business and Industry, they have a course in entrepreneurship that's open to their students and any of you. And I encourage you to take advantage of that when you can. Now, not at the expense of the courses that you need to take to stay on track. But when you have an elective, you might want to take a look at that because we don't want you just prepared to go out into the world and work for someone else, right? We want you to go out into the world and be prepared to create jobs, right, and economic development based upon what's up here. Okay? We want you to be more than just an employee. We want you to be a game changer. And speaking of research, I do want to welcome perhaps our newest member to our senior leadership team, our new Vice President for Research, Dr. Charles Weatherford. Dr. Weatherford, would you please stand and be recognized? Thank you, sir. But we also talk about at FAMU, it's not just good enough to go out into the world and be a great doctor, a great engineer, a great journalist, a great musician. That other part of our mission, our motto, the caring part, is just as important. We want you to go out into the world and apply those skills and knowledge that you've learned to uplift the lives of others in your families and your communities and perhaps people that you will never meet. Just a week ago, we all watched with great concern as Hurricane Dorian threatened our state and watched in horror as it devastated portions of the Bahamas. This administration took an opportunity to work with our students and student leadership to meet with our Bahamian students on campus to reassure them that we will do all that we can, that they will not have to worry about anything else but focusing, like you will, on their academic success. But long before we thought about convening that meeting, you, the students, the student leadership of this institution, had already made plans to take action. So President Morissette, I want to commend you and your leadership for understanding that FAMU's reach is far. People who come to this institution come here from over 70 nations and 30 states. So when there are things happening out there affecting any part of our FAMU family, we have to take the appropriate action to let them know that we truly care. So I want to ask that you continue to make donations to the campus public safety and monetary contributions online through the FAMU Foundations, because excellence with caring is what we do, is what we are about. We care about our students and where they come from and how they get to us. One of the things I'm particularly proud of as I walk across this campus and as I look out into this audience today, the diversity within our student population. And it's not just about ethnic and racial gender diversity, but we know that a major point in diversity that we must respect is that people don't have to agree with us on everything. They can have different political perspectives, different sexual orientations, different religion, but once they come here and they don the orange and green, they're part of the FAMU family, and they're welcome to the FAMU family. And we want them to know that they can do no wrong as long as they don the orange and green. We believe at FAMU that diversity really does make us stronger. We celebrate our differences as a point of strength. That's why just a year or so ago, we established our Diversity and Inclusion Council to ensure that we don't lose sight of the fact that everybody who comes here as a student, an employee, as a visitor feels welcome on the highest of 7 hills. And speaking of diversity, you all know the story, right? FAMU has been a co-educational institution throughout its whole history, right? We're the only public institution formed before the 19th century that can claim that throughout its entire history, okay? So I like to say that, at FAMU, we got it right from the start. Among the students who gathered with those instructors on October the 3rd, 1887, were both male and female students. There probably would have been an even richer diversity, except that our society didn't allow that to happen. I just want everybody to know that Florida A&M University got it right from the beginning. And speaking of diversity and the impacts that we made in that regard, you all know the story that the first female, African-American female, to win a major tennis tournament started her academic career here on the highest of 7 hills 70 years ago in 1949, Althea Gibson, long before Venus and Serena. I had the opportunity, along with some of our alumni, to attend just a couple of weeks ago in New York at the National Tennis Center outside of Arthur Ashe Stadium, and a statue unveiling in honor of Althea Gibson. And it was a very moving moment for us all. We had an opportunity to talk to the artist about his sculpture, because some people couldn't quite figure out the meaning. And he told us, what was so special about it, and that she turned, professional women's sports, not just in tennis, pretty much on its head. She turned it in a way that afforded many others to follow her. A FAMUan did that when the first French Open in 1956. So the Rattler legacy and history goes back a long way. And all of these athletes who are here today and who are participating in sports professionally and in universities around this nation owe a lot to Althea Gibson. She opened doors that many have walked through because of her efforts, including the likes of Venus and Serena Williams. Speaking of opening doors and creating innovation, there was a young man who came to this institution when he was only 15 years old. You know, we took a chance on him as a student, 15 years old, finished at 18. He went on to be one of the greatest oncologists in the nation. His name was Dr. LaSalle Lafall, one of the greatest. Dr. Lafall, you know, worked his career mostly in Washington, D.C., on the faculty of the medical school and a leadership role there at Howard University. But he served 2 U.S. presidents. But all of that started right here where you are today, on the highest of 7 hills. 15 years old, finished at 18. And although he had an outstanding GPA, and this is a word of caution for all of you, he wasn't the smartest. He didn't have the highest GPA of the students in his class. There was one other student who had a high GPA. And so the lesson for that, for all of you Rattlers, is that no matter how well you do, there's another Rattler who's doing even better, right? So there's no limit to your possibilities, okay? So if you wake up at the end of a test and you get a 99, please know that somebody in that class got 100, okay? Because that's the type of students that we have at this university. You know, speaking of taking chances, there's a gentleman by the name of Dr. William P. Foster, who came to this place in 1946, graced this campus with a vision that we are celebrating even here today. Last night, you wouldn't have believed the program that was done to celebrate what would have been his 100th birthday. What you need to know that thanks to the work of his son and so many others, and his son Tony is with us this morning. Would you please stand and be recognized? You need to know that Dr. Foster's portrait will be shown in the National Portrait Gallery of the Smithsonian. Not only that, due to the generosity and persistence of the Foster family, there will be an exhibit of Marching 100 paraphernalia distributed at the National African American Museum of Black History and Culture. You know, so when I sat on that panel yesterday thinking about innovation and impact and creativity, you know, Dr. Foster came to mind because when you think about the impact that he had on college bands and institutions and individuals, it's just tremendous. You cannot measure it. You know, yesterday at that function in D.C., they had a local, and I'm not going to call the name, college band to come in and perform, and you know they did the best they could, trying to emulate or imitate the performances of this band, right? And everywhere you go, you see people walking faster, dancing harder, trying to emulate the success of this band and the work that Dr. Foster started here in 1956. 46. Now, I will say to Dr. Rivers that Dr. Foster did spend a little time at Fort Valley, but he knew he knew that this was the place to come, right? And so they learned something up there, but not enough. And I hope, Larry, that you call them, tell them, don't show up tomorrow. That's probably the best thing, okay? I mean, just leave the man in Fort Valley. I mean, don't do it to yourselves, right? It's not worth it. This was a tremendous event last night, and it just further solidifies FAMU's place in the history of this nation and this world. And you, the students here now, FAMU23, you're part of that future. As I look around and I see FAMU's future, I see this nation's future. And I understand that you're going to face challenges along the way. And one of those challenges, President Morissette talked about briefly. I'll put it to you from a slightly different perspective. As we gathered here a year ago, outside of those doors, right, I was really, really concerned. We talk about FAMU being on the highest of 7 hills, but I thought we were going to have to change that to FAMU being the highest of 9 hills, because there were 2 tremendous mounds of red dirt outside of these doors that had sat there for months and months. And I remember a student coming up to me and saying, well, Dr. Robinson, what are y'all going to do about those mounds of dirt? When I came here, for a college tour, they were there. It was during homecoming week, and they were still there. What are y'all going to do? So I thought we were going to have to change it from the highest of 7 hills to the highest of 9 hills. But because we worked together, we prayed together, we were able to get the funding to finish almost $25 million that were needed to finish what you see out there today. And I'm pretty sure a year from now, this will be completed. And one of the most important things that we focused on that we think is necessary for student success, a consolidated center to allow you, the students of Florida A&M University, to not have to go from one building to the next for the services that you deserve at this great institution. And perhaps more importantly, you don't have to park in Dr. Hudson's parking space and get a ticket, anyway. But this is going to make a big difference. It brings together financial aid, the career development centers, health, and all of those into one place. This 80,000 square feet facility will be a game changer at this institution. Another game changer is the 700-bed dormitory that we're building. And I know it's not fast enough for some of you, but a year from now, we'll be moving into that facility. And we pretty much were in the same spot a year ago. We did not have the money. We had the vision, the determination, and the plans. We just didn't have the money. But earlier this year, in February more specifically, we signed an agreement that allows us $125 million valued at that deal to not only build that dormitory, but to clear up other monies to invest in renovation and restoration of other housing facilities throughout this campus. And so we didn't have the money, but we had the faith and commitment and the strategy to get that done. And so you're going to have your difficult moments in the classroom and beyond, but please give us and the FAMU family an opportunity to work with you to solve those problems. Don't give up on yourselves ever, because we're not going to give up on you. Don't give up on yourselves. Give us an opportunity to help you through those very, very difficult moments. So in closing, let me first remind myself that this is a football weekend. There is a game that's going to be played tomorrow at Bragg Memorial Stadium. Now, our first game didn't exactly go the way we wanted, but there's an old axiom in the FAMU history that goes, after a loss, Dr. Rivers, somebody got to pay. Somebody got to pay. I hope they brought their textbook with them. I hope they have credit cards or something. Saturday, somebody got to pay. I don't know who it is, but somebody got to pay. Yeah, we took a couple of blows a couple of weeks ago, but I was there in the stands rooting for our young men. I'm going to be there tomorrow. I just hope they brought the textbook with them. Somebody got to pay. So for all of the Rattlers out there, all of you who've come back for this very, very special weekend, there's so many things going on. I'm going to try to get to everything that I can, Sharon and I. Certainly we're going to come out and see that check presentation at the stadium tomorrow from the Wildcats. But I just want you all to know that, we care about our opponents. They are members of the Academy of Historically Black Colleges and Universities, but for a couple of hours tomorrow, we won't be friendly, right? We won't be kind. We won't be nice. We won't be caring, okay? So I just want all of you to know that you need to be there with us tomorrow as well. Please come out and join us. The 100 will be there. The Royal Court will be there. Is anybody not going to be there tomorrow? I didn't think so. All right? So since everybody's going to be there, I look forward to seeing you. So, in closing, when the dark clouds get on the horizon, when thunder and lightning fill the sky, when fate is but a glint in the eye of a fallen rattler, and hope's a lost friend, when the sinew of the chest grows weary from those hard-charging linebackers, and the muscles in the legs grow tired from those hard-charging running backs, you must always remember that the Rattlers will strike and strike and strike again. Let's go, Rattlers!
Man, I had to stop halfway. I almost lost my voice just now. At this time, I would like to recognize our very own, our football team, and the head coach, Willie Simmons. Would you guys please stand and be recognized? Honestly, we could do better than that. Come on now. Good luck tomorrow, and honestly, Fort Valley State has no idea what they're walking into. And now we will have the introduction of administrators and new staff by our very own Provost Maurice Eddington.
Good morning once again. I want to introduce and acknowledge two separate groups. First, I'd like to acknowledge and welcome our newest administrators, faculty, and staff who have joined us on the Hill. And by new, we mean if you were not in this role at this time last year. That's what we're defining as new. Okay? So I'm going to acknowledge each group, and as they stand up, please give each group a warm Rattler applause. First, will all new senior leadership members, which includes associate assistant vice presidents, directors, members of the president's leadership team, those that are new, would you please stand and be recognized? Thank you. Please be seated. And this includes those of you in the audience as well. Would all new deans, assistant and associate deans, and academic administrators please stand and be recognized? Would all new faculty members, instructors, advisors, and counselors please stand and be recognized? Thank you. Would all new staff in all colleges, schools, centers, and departments please stand and be recognized? And the last group, would all returning employees at all levels, on the stage and down on the floor, please stand and be recognized. Thank you. We wish each of you an outstanding year as you join us and partner with us in taking FAMU to higher heights. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Eddington. And now I would like to bring up the Director of Bands, Dr. Shelby Chipman, for the introduction of band staff.
Good morning. Good morning, Rattlers. My name is Dr. Shelby Chipman. I hail from Miami, Florida, the greatest city in the United States of America. It is my esteemed honor and privilege to serve as the 4th Director of Bands here at Florida Agricultural and Mechanical University, known as the incomparable Marching 100. We're very proud of this season that we're going to have upon us as relates to, we have 270 students that are participating in the Marching 100 this year. I'd like to quickly introduce the students in this group. I'd like for all of the freshmen to please stand in the band. We have 120 freshmen in this class. Now, just a little academic check here, Dr. Robinson and other dignitaries. If you graduated with a 3.0 GPA, please remain standing. If you graduated with a 3.5 GPA, remain standing. If you graduated from high school with a 4.0 GPA, Dr. Hudson, please remain standing. If you were salutatorian or valedictorian, raise your hands. Thank you. Please be seated. All returning band members, please stand. Thank you. If you are third year, remain seated. Be seated if you're third year. We want to recognize our seniors. These are our 4-year band members. 4-year band members. I'd like to introduce the drum major staff for this year. We have, and we'll hold our applause please to the end so I can move as quickly as I can. Corey Bostick, Joshua Honoré, Nehemiah Fields, Justin Battle, Moises Martinez. I'd like for the student assistant to the director of bands to come to the stage, Naomi Cuevla. The president of the university band, please also come to the stage, Matthew James. If you're a vice president of the band, please stand. Section leaders, please stand. Rank sergeants, please stand. These are the leaders. When we're in the block band executing a dance routine, you'll see these individuals on the right and the left end. Thank you. Please be seated. I'd like to acknowledge at this time the members of the university band staff. Collectively, we have over 300 years of experience in the teaching field and workforce. I'd like to start with our field assistants that helped Mr. Beckwith out, Terrence White. Many of them, and just about all of them, were former members of the band. Please stand. Cammie White, field assistant. Christian Johnson, who coordinates the flags, and also field assistant. Tony Lavelle, the photographer, should be here today. Joe Bullitt is probably on air. He was with us last night. Deidre McRoy, our Department of Music Compliance Officer. Ms. Kimberly Taylor, Department of Music Office Manager. Mr. Donald Beckwith, Senior Storekeeper and Equipment Manager. New to the staff, coming back to complete his degree. And of course, he does an amazing job in the area of percussion from the West Palm Beach area. Please recognize Tova Lovely, Assistant Director of Percussion. Director of our trumpets this year in Trumpet Studio, Dr. Alonjanu Parsons. Coordinator of our trombones and jazz studies, as well as jazz band director, Mr. Robert Griffin. The Assistant Director of Marching and Pep Bands does an amazing job. Everybody say amazing. Mr. Darrell Baker from Miami Norland High School. He's in his 2nd year. Assistant Director of Lower Brass is recently has started on his doctorate degree in tuba performance at Florida State University, Mr. Ralph John Paul. Assistant Director of Woodwinds and Coordinator of Music Education, Dr. Nicholas Thomas. The senior band staff member on campus, his first and only, say only, his first and only job on the Hill, Dr. Shayla James, Assistant Director and Director of our percussion section. The 3rd Director of Bands here on campus, former trombone student and Director of Bands at several high schools and colleges, Dr. Sylvester Young, drill designer and professor of music. And last but certainly not least, the sound of the incomparable Marching 100 since the 70s, former trumpet section leader and currently the chairman of the music department and chief arranger here, Mr. Lindsey Sargent. Give it up. I'd just like to take just a moment to acknowledge all of the alumni, the National Alumni Association. Colonel Greg Clark, of course, we acknowledged you last night, but I do want to express my utmost appreciation to you. We were starting this year, starting a little bit behind based on when some of the other bands around the country started. And we got started and we were in need of some help because we knew we were going to Houston to perform in the HBCU National Battle of Bands Invitational. And we needed to rehearse at one of the schools, and I wanted the students to look very neat when we rehearsed because we were expecting a large contingency of folks to come out. And I called Carmen Cummins, and I got on the phone and called Colonel Greg Clark, and asked him if the National Alumni Association can help along with the Band Alumni Association, and they came through royally. And I just want to publicly thank the National Alumni Band Association as well as the Alumni Band Association for donating the thousands of dollars so the 100 can have shorts and be able to rehearse and look very professional. Thank you so much. Also on tomorrow, we will salute the thousands of people that supported us for the Tournament of Roses and all the fundraising efforts through Dr. Friday Stroud's Foundation Office and Communications Office, Dr. Hudson's office, and of course our university president who came through royally to help us out with the thousands of dollars that we did raise. We did order 5,000 lapel pins, and some of these I'm going to give out today. There will be a system for sending them out. I'm going to ask for Colonel Clark to come up front as well as the president of the university to please come up along with Dr. Hudson and Dr. Friday Stroud, Dr. Valencia Matthews to come up. And we recently received these pins. Mr. Baker, if you can help me out here, sir. And we'd like to give these initial pins to you. And of course, throughout the season, all of you that did donate towards that trip, we're going to be sending them out to you. Mr. Baker will be coordinating that. Coach, if you'll come up, also want to give you a pin as well. If you come up, we were hanging out in the barber shop this morning. Okay, I'm sorry, telling our business. Okay. But Mr. Baker will distribute these pins, and they're commemorative pins that honors the Rose as well as the March 100 insignia on them. We'd like to present them to the leadership team at this time, and there'll be others that will also be receiving these pins. We'd also like to announce that on tomorrow we're acknowledging, doing our pregame show, we're acknowledging the sports heroes, those that are being inducted into the Hall of Fame here on campus. So the band is going to spell out the word sports in cursive to the west side, and we're going to acknowledge, I think it's 6 or 7 individuals, as well as all of the sports and athletic teams' names will be called out on tomorrow during our pregame ceremony, along with, we've charted 2023. And so we'll have the freshman field rush. So freshmen, raise your hand in attendance. Need you to spread the word that we would like to meet you right at 5:15 on the west side with Mr. Baker and Dr. Thomas and Kathy Times as well. If you would come up front, please. I'm sorry, Mrs. Times and Carmen Cummings, come up front. And so, freshmen, we will acknowledge you. You will run through the 2023 tomorrow to the east side. And then, of course, the next home game, we will be acknowledging all the students who have 3.5 through Dr. Goodman's office, as well as Dr. Eddington's office and Dr. Hudson. So we'll acknowledge you for the Southern University halftime football game. Also, I do want to acknowledge and thank so many of the returning band members for your just undivided service that you have provided. On next week, some of you are probably wondering about the Battle of Bands, and we did find out recently Dr. Thomas has been communicating with the Southern University band directors. Their band is scheduled to arrive on Saturday. They're not coming to Tallahassee on Friday, so we just found that out. So we've decided, I've kind of taken the leadership in saying we want to have a spirited pep rally on next Friday featuring a couple of high school bands, as well as the Marching 100, along with Divine Nine and other organizations on campus. You're going to be contacted. And more importantly, it's going to be a fundraiser / donation towards the Dorian victims that we know what they're going through. So we're going to ask you for a nominal $5. I think that's what we agreed on. And we'll be speaking with the university and putting logistics in place with that for next Friday. But it's going to be a very festive activity to take place. And then we basically we're going to need your help, Rattlers. I mean, now we got a great band this year, but we're going to need your support. We got some crunk music, I guess, as they say, that we're going to play. Did I say that right? Okay, stay in my lane. But we do have 3 visiting bands this year. We have the Fort Valley Band tomorrow. We have the Southern University Band. Next week, we have the NCAT Band, Brian Smith, alma mater band coming. And then we have those Wildcats in December. So we're looking forward to this season and all the bands that are coming to Bragg Stadium. And finally, we would like to just say thank you, everyone, for your support. And we look forward to your continued support as we have our fundraising activities. We've already heard about Dr. William P. Foster. We do have these shirts that will be available for you to purchase honoring Dr. Foster. August 25th, 1919. Of course, we celebrated his birthday, 2019. And this is the last thing. And so this particular portrait we're going to have available. I think there are 10 of them we're putting together, and there'll be means that you'll be able to possibly purchase these as we approach homecoming. So we'll let you know more about that. Didn't want to take all the time, but certainly last shout out I like to give is my son Israel, who's a junior here studying in the School of SBI. He's doing some amazing things. Mom and Dad love you. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Mr. Baker, SOS. Oh, hold up, Mr. Baker.
Yeah. Thank you, Dr. Chipman, and all of those who supported the Marching 100 in their trip to Southern California. I do want to acknowledge, and if she would, that the newest member of our Board of Trustees, Professor Anne-Marie Cavazos from the FAMU College of Law. Would you please come and join me? You know. I just want you all to get to know one of my bosses. I'm doing a little brown nosing. She's been around for a while, and isn't she great? Okay. Just remember that. Also in the audience, I'm told we have former SDA President Gallup Franklin. Gallup, are you here? There he is. Okay. Thank you for joining us this morning. And as we get ready for tomorrow's game, it's appropriate that we hear from our head coach, ladies and gentlemen, Coach Willie Simmons.
Good morning, Rattlers. On behalf of the 2019 football team, again, will you guys stand again to be recognized? Chris Fadul. Chris Terry, y'all come real quick. Hurry up. I don't have much time. Hurry up. As you know, we begin our home slate tomorrow against Fort Valley State, 6 p.m. Hope everyone's there. Of course, the last time we took the field, we didn't come out, obviously, the way that we wanted to, and there are no apologies for that. And we will, like Dr. Robinson said, make someone pay for how we performed the last time we took the field. The one thing I will say about that game, and this is a challenge to everyone sitting here, is that UCF had 18,000 students trying to get into the game on that last Thursday. They only let 12,000 in. So they sold out the student section. So I'm challenging all the students to be trying to break down Bragg Memorial Stadium this year, all 6 home games. We need the support of our student body. I want our home field advantage to be like none other in the Mid-Eastern Athletic Conference. And so again, challenge everyone to be there. Gates open, I think, at 5 o'clock. Again, hope to see everyone there. The visiting team will be on the student side. And so looking forward to you guys giving them a hard time, a safe hard time. But again, let's make sure that they can't hear themselves talk and hear their signals like we struggled a couple of weeks ago. But Dr. Chipman, you bragged on your incoming freshman. I just want to take a second to brag on 2 of our guys. To my immediate right, Terry Jefferson Sr. is a 2-time graduate of Florida A&M University, currently working on his 3rd degree as a 5th-year student, all MEAC performer. And to my left, Christopher Fadul led the entire nation in punting last season. And while doing that, maintained a perfect 4.0 GPA. So these young men are doing it on the field as well as in the classroom. Again, we're excited about this season. We're excited about tomorrow. Again, first of 6 home games. My esteemed athletic director, Dr. John Neeson, made a commitment when I was hired to bring more games to Bragg Memorial Stadium. This is the second year in a row that we will have 6 home games. So looking forward to seeing everyone out there. We need your support. Thank you for everything that you do. Colonel Clark, that's Alumni Association, Booster Club, Foundation, thank you for your support. We couldn't do what we do without you, and look forward to seeing these brand new uniforms that we're wearing because of you. Thank you so much, and always go Rattlers. Let me not get in trouble again. My son is in the stands as well. He's a third-year student. Louis Zanders, will you please stand to be recognized? Is he gone already? Okay, just so I can go home tonight. Thank y'all.
Thank you to the band for that marvelous selection. I love it. Everybody listen. One more thing that was left out about Saturday's game. It is a whiteout. That means we are going to white out Bragg Memorial Stadium. We're going to have about 10,000 students, 10,033 students to be exact, right outside in Bragg Memorial Stadium. They will not be able to hear us. We are going to be loud. We're not sitting down. Of course, we're going to be safe and sound, but it's going to be a great home field advantage for us. Now, I'll bring up Dr. Larry Robinson for the closing remarks, followed by the benediction from Reverend Jones, followed by the alma mater. We ask that you all do not leave, and there is to be no walking during the alma mater. Thank you, everybody.
So this will be very short. I just want all of you, the students in particular, to know that your success is why we're here. And one group of individuals I know we lean on very heavily, and that's our faculty, to ensure that you are blessed with the knowledge and skills that they have gathered over their lifetimes and their careers. And so I do want to acknowledge the outstanding faculty at Florida A&M University for the great work that they do on the behalf of students in advancing our educational mission. I also want to take a moment, because it's a one of personal pride too. I I want to commend the staff who have gone through great work to improve the look of the campus. It's really, really astonishing to see how hard they work. If you knew how hard they work around here, around the clock, sometimes their work goes unnoticed, but I want you to know that the people who work in food services and doing our lawns and taking care of our facilities are just as important to us as everyone else is. So students, as you see them, as you encounter them, please speak to them, thank them for the work that they do. Because of them, they make sure that facilities like this are working and the lights are on and properly ventilated and so forth. They're very, very important to us. But you, the young people in this room, don't let anybody blot out your dream, whether that's a friend or foe. Don't let anybody tell you that you can't do what you came here to do at Florida A&M University. Just remember that you are very, very special to us. We're going to do everything that we can to ensure that you succeed. I have just been notified that the parents of President Morissette are here. Would you please stand and be recognized? Where are they? Oh, you brought the whole family. Thank you for loaning us to him, or him to us, for a little while. He'll be on to big and brighter things very, very soon. But thank you for the time that you allowed him to spend with us here on the Hill. Welcome to Florida A&M University. Thank you so much. Have a great day. Have a wonderful weekend.
Shall we stand and remain standing for the alma mater? Let us pray. Alma mater can be found on the back of your programs. Heavenly Father, we ask a blessing all divine. Fend us, Lord, through the skeptic night. Those who do not think we shall win tomorrow, help us to know that you are God and that with you all things are possible. Help our athletes, Lord, to perform tomorrow like a finely tuned machine. And Father, we give you the thanks, the praise, the honor, and the glory in advance. Help our students to know, God, how special they are and what a wonderful place this university is. We thank you, God, for our time here and for this place. And we give you the honor, and we say amen.